Welcome back to the Strength and Speed Podcast. I'm your host, Conquer the Gauntlet Pro and Strength and Speed owner Evan Preparis. And back on the line with me is Brenna. Say hi, Brenna.
What's going on, everybody? Been a hot minute.
Yeah, so we got Brenna back on, so we just kind of want to do a catch-up for what we've missed from the beginning of the season. Before we get to that, though, quick word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by InsideTracker. If you're not familiar with InsideTracker, they're the company that tests your blood for basically up to 42 biomarkers, and it tells you what you need to do to change in both your training and as well as in your diet to help you improve. Really great program. We're going to go through it a little bit more in depth because Brenna just got her first InsideTracker results back. So we'll kind of jump into that later. But what I really like about it is you don't need a personal trainer or a dietitian to walk you through the results. They really make it easy. So we'll jump into a little bit more InsideTracker later. Brenna, what's been going on? Where you been?
Where haven't I been? No, it's probably why I haven't been on in a minute. I have just been traveling every weekend, literally, since probably last time we talked. I think the last time I was home in Tulsa was Conquer Takeover event back in February. So I've been a couple races here and there. I've done a few Savage races now that they started. I've hit their first few of the season. We'll talk about those. I've been traveling back and forth to Kansas, kind of living half in Kansas, half in Tulsa. And now gearing up for a bit of Conquer Youth season taking off. So, and then like you said, I got to experience InsideTracker. So we'll get to talk in detail with that and explain how cool of a testing item that is. I don't know. It's really, I had no idea what it was before, and now I'm really intrigued by it. So,
yeah. So I just released my book, Strength. I'm sorry. I can't even I've got too many books. I can't keep them straight.
That's such a problem to have.
Which is awkward. It's super awkward. I just released Mud Run Guide's Ultimate Obstacle Course Race. I can't. It's late. Mud Run Guide's Ultimate Obstacle Course Race Bucket List. There we go. I got the name right. So it's a list of basically all different race series, both small and big series, that covers basically all across the U.S. and then even does some overseas. So pick up a copy of that if you haven't picked one up already. The pre-order is just ending kind of as this podcast is coming out. But the cool part about that is it highlights a lot of smaller races. So and a lot of race variations. So we're going to talk a lot about those on this episode. So let's start off with Savage Race, right? There's a first Savage Race of the season, and then they followed it up with a Blitz. So tell me a little bit about Savage Race and how it's changed since last year.
Yeah, so they actually they started their season kind of different. They did just a Blitz weekend only, and that was Florida, where I think it was back in maybe February, I think it was February. They did just a Blitz to kind of like test it out and see how it was going to go for the season after last season's go of it. And then they basically started, that was kind of just like a pre-season. Then their first official race of the season was Savage Florida back on St. Patrick's Day weekend. So now every Savage location this season has 2 days. So Saturday is their regular 6 to 8 mile course with 28, 25, 30 obstacles, give or take. And then Sunday this year, every location has their Blitz course, which was the newest edition. It's a 3 mile course with like 15 to 18 obstacles. It kind of varies just depending on it. But so I did that in Florida, the first one, which it's funny. Florida is their flattest, fastest course I've ever run anywhere, basically. Second time I've been at that location. So went there. I will say there is definitely a queen of Savage. She has been seasons before, and she's proving herself already like unstoppable this season. That'd be Rachel Corigliano. So she was in Florida along with Chris Rigolowski and Chrissy McFarland for the females. The guys, again, were just stacked fields. So awesome competition to start the season. I went just to kind of like shake it off since that was the first thing I did back since Kuwait. So it had been over a month. And I was going to try and do both days, but I wound up just running the Blitz on Sunday, which was kind of awesome because just to like jump in and it'd be a sprint course and get to play on more obstacles than running. It's a really fun addition they've done. They kind of did it for two reasons. It kind of plays to different categories here. So it's like for the first timers, you know, who might be turned off by 6 miles, because to some, if you hear Savage is 6 miles, that's a lot for your first obstacle course race, because some, you know, start with like the Spartan Sprint where you have the 3 to 4 miles. The CTG is even on the like 4 mile range. So they added the Blitz course, and basically it's great for starters and beginners. And then it's also amazing because they do have a pro Blitz wave, just like on Saturday. And kicker, it's half the distance, same payout. So for the elites, yeah, so for the elites and pros, the pro wave is amazing on Sunday because you can double dip if you run Saturday and Sunday. And I mean, it's still 1,500, 250 first, second, third on Saturday and Sunday. That's pretty hard to beat at any of the race series that are like regular races outside of championship or mountain series or whatever.
Yeah, that's really good. And the Blitz obstacles, do they still have, like, do they have 2 rigs? Give me like the hard grip obstacles that you face.
So I've noticed both because now, so I did Florida, I did Georgia, and I've done Texas this season. They change it up because they got a lot of feedback, and Savage Race is definitely the race series that listens to all of their participants. They have a Savage Syndicate group, which is basically their like private/public Facebook group for avid Savage racers, and they get so much inside feedback there. The owners, Lloyd and Sam, are constantly in there communicating. And the thing with the Blitz communication originally, after the first year of it, and like they did it last year, but there was no payout, no competition, people said they missed the big signature obstacles. So like they originally were running the Blitz, and it didn't have Colossus, and it didn't have like their big grip heavy obstacles, Wheel World. So a lot of people came back with feedback that it was the easier obstacles and they missed the big ones. So I will say Savage kind of adapted, and I think it was like in Florida, they had Sawtooth, which is their monkey bars, and they had their 3 new feature obstacles, Chopsticks and Piece of Queso, and I thought there was another one. Oh yeah, inversion therapy. So that inversion therapy wasn't in there on Sunday, but the other 2 were. So they really mixed it up, and like that one was kind of easier. But then on Atlanta or Texas, I'm getting confused. They traded off and had more of their signature obstacles. There was the rig and the monkey bars and Colossus, all thrown in there in the mix. I feel like on Sunday in Florida, Colossus might have been thrown in, and that's why Ashley did not run, because just of Ashley, our teammate, being pregnant, the safety of the slide. But it's really hard to say. It's a gamble. They do put out the race map and course map so you can see the obstacles ahead of the event. But like I said, I've been to one where it was not all of the signature obstacles on the Blitz, and then I went to another, and it had all the good stuff. So for a sprint course, they upped the grip strength.
Well, that's cool. I think people will enjoy that. My personal opinion, people will enjoy that more, right? Because even the grip strength stuff, like Sawtooth, I think the open wave still finds that fun because you see how far you can make it, and then you fall in the water, you laugh, you have a good time, and you keep going, right? Like, I think we get caught up in like our little obstacle course racing circle, right? Like our tiny community of obsessive fans, where it's like, oh well, if they fail, they're not going to enjoy themselves. But I don't think that's always true. I think just trying some of the bigger obstacles, like you'd see on things like Ninja Warrior, is a good time, and I'm glad they made that adaptation. That sounds cool.
Well, yeah, and because basically the whole point is if you're going to do the Blitz and it be a test out to see if you want to do the big course, I mean, I think you definitely have to throw in some of those bigger signature known for obstacles. And they listened and they did it. And Savage Race, they send out email surveys to all the participants after a certain amount of events. And again, they listen to it and they give feedback. So it's really cool. So definitely, and that's what Jay Flores met up with me. We were in Texas together. And it's kind of funny because Texas was the first location I actually was able to do Saturday and Sunday back to back. I will say personally, as I'm getting older and just like I don't do the best recovery anyways, I learned that my body doesn't handle or respond to it was like 7 miles followed by 4 miles. So Sunday I felt every step of the 7 miles in my legs on Sunday, and we were running in sand, so it was tricky. But I'm not gonna lie, I probably will do both days again, as much as it hurt, because it's a gamble. You don't know who's going to show up both days, or some of the pros only showed up on Sunday and they weren't there Saturday. Rachel, like for instance, she was there both days and won both days. In Texas, Chris Rugalowski was there Saturday, but not Sunday. And then we had a surprise fly-in from Seattle. Alex Walker showed up on Sunday, but she wasn't there Saturday. So if you're looking at the Blitz and Savage Race from a pro standpoint, there's some strategy and thought behind it, or just like if you can handle 2 days of pushing yourself, then you never know what could happen. So, I mean, I will say Florida and Georgia, I got 6th both times, 2nd in my age group, but 6th overall female. And then Texas, I wound up 3rd place both days. So, I mean, I love Savage Race. And this whole Blitz edition, I already said, I was like, oh, I can't do both days. But I go to Maryland 2 weeks, and I'm like, I think I'm going to try both days again.
Yeah, Savage is one of the absolute best series. Mandatory obstacle completion, big payouts, fun obstacles, good festival area. Absolutely love them.
The bling.
Yeah, the bling is insane. The new syndicate medals and the axe. The axes for age group, like those like mini axes medals.
Yeah, so you basically, if you win your age group or even 2nd place age group, your little axe medal is bigger than like the overall podium, like 2nd and 3rd medal. It's kind of cool, but then it's like, oh crap. And then I will say for those that, like bling, people that have awesome dreams and goals, Saturday they still have the giant wooden axe that's like a signature prize in the OCR prize community. Sunday, they do not. You get the big payout, but you don't get a big axe. So don't be like upset if you go in on Sunday and win, you don't get an axe.
That is good to know.
The big wooden one, but you still get your gold axe. So it's really cool. But again, lots of shout out and props to Savage Race and their crew. They have 3 new obstacles, really cool to check out. We've done, I think I've shared a couple technique videos on one of them so far. I have some more in storage because we like to feature other obstacles from Conquer the Gauntlet Pros. But yeah, great series. So I'm happy that I've done 3. I'm trying to hit all of them this season. I think I might miss one depending on Conquer the Gauntlet. So we'll see.
Now, I know Sam and Lloyd like to poll the Savage Syndicate group. So if you're not in the Savage Syndicate, I would definitely head in there. Lots of good information going around about Savage Race and people sharing their opinions. One of the questions they asked about a month ago was, should there be a fire jump? And a lot of people were like, no. So was there a fire jump at either event?
Oh, crap. Georgia had a fire jump.
Okay.
And I think they asked the question after Georgia. And so that was the second one. So Florida and Georgia had the fire jump. Texas did not have a fire jump.
Okay. So
yeah, I didn't even realize it, but I mean, I didn't miss it. And it avoids conflict of like 1 foot over the fire jump and cutting corners. Just kidding.
What I think is interesting about that is when they asked the group, I was like, this group's going to absolutely say they don't care, because you're asking like the hardcore community who are like, no one cares about fire jump. After you've been in the sport for like a year, you're like, got it, fire jump. Yeah, I'm leaping over like a 6-inch pile of fire. It's not a big deal. But I think some of the people in the open waves might still enjoy that and like that picture for their Facebook profile. I don't know.
Exactly. I think that was the argument brought up. It wasn't so much that like it was a cool obstacle that they loved and felt scary jumping over fire. It was a really cool picture, and they always had a photographer there. But I don't think it was missed. I didn't hear any like negative feedback from Texas saying why wasn't there a fire jump. And you brought that up, and I didn't even remember it until just now. So yeah.
All right. While you were off racing Savage, I was on the East Coast. I was on the other coast racing Tough Mudder. Yeah, so I was off racing Tough Mudder. I went to their season opener out in LA, and I met up with my Atomic teammate, Wesley Kerr. So I stayed at his place, got to experience the West Coast, Best Coast scene of the Tough Mudder community. And
was that your first time West Coast Tough Mudder?
It was, yeah. I guess, yeah. Yes, definitely. So that was fun. I got to go out there. The course was awful for me. It was all like mountains, essentially. Not actual mountains, but it was large hills, right? So you were climbing, descending, or pretty much the whole race. There was like, the beginning had like 2 big climbs and a descent, and then you went into a flat section with obstacles. So I was gaining on people through all of that, and then as soon as we hit the hills again, I'd start losing placement, and so I ended up finishing 6th, which is not bad, but my lowest tougher mudder placement to date. So
wasn't there something really cool? Like, wasn't that, I remember, a special number for you?
Oh yeah, that was 25. So that was my 25th event. The general consensus is we count events, not laps. So I don't know how many. I haven't written down how many laps I've done. It's obviously much more than 25. It's like 50. I think I'm at low 50s.
You would have that written down.
Yeah, just keep it on my phone. It's like a little note on my phone.
I wonder if we had like a nerd off in OCR, you'd be pretty top up there, if not like.
I'm pretty nerdy, yeah.
Anyway, sorry. So how many laps did you do at that event?
So we did 3 Saturday, and then we did 1 more on Sunday. And the Saturday ones, I definitely got sunburned, and I was wearing the Tougher Mudder bib, so I had like a weird suntan of like the tramp stamp line across the bottom part of my back, and then like just my shoulders, and then like a space on my neck. Like it was super weird. It's like I'm still wearing the bib. That wasn't too fun. And then we went back out Sunday, and I wore a shirt this time to make sure I didn't aggravate my sunburn anymore. Did 1 more lap that was pretty slow, and then I got my 25X headband, which is cool.
Nice.
The cool thing from that event was while we were waiting around for other people to finish and friends to finish, I sat around and I was watching people go through electroshock therapy. So Tough Mudder's obstacle, that's basically a bunch of hanging wires, and you just get electrocuted. I wrote an article on Mud Run Guide, which got some pretty good traction. I think if you are interested in that, definitely should go check it out. It's basically all the, it's like there's like a sub cult within a cult, right? You have this, Tough Mudder cult, and then within that there's like the world's toughest mudder cult, and then like a subset of that is the electroshock therapy cult, right? Where these people just love getting electrocuted. So guys like Kevin Chow will go through doing the Iron Cross. So essentially you walk with your arms spread out, so you touch as many wires as possible.
Oh my gosh.
You can, they were going in there with beers, so you go in and essentially you have to finish your beer before you come out the other side.
Oh my gosh.
So some people were like stopping in between the wires and drinking. There's some who tried to like drink and walk at the same time, which had moderate degrees of success. But yeah, it's a great article, and it was really, really fun to talk to some of the electroshock therapy, the EST guys that are listed in there, and get some of their input and feedback and all the different things they do. So
that's amazingly ridiculous. I had no idea. I mean, I guess people go back to all the obstacles and hang out and play. So, I mean, why not that one too?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, and then it's really obviously only limited by your imagination. So, Iron Cross, there's the spinning Iron Cross where you spin as you walk through. There's guys going through blindfolded. There's guys going through blindfolded spinning. There's people getting their headbands in there. People riding piggyback, stuff like that. So, it gets pretty crazy.
That is intense for sure. So, okay, wait, has there been like a bunch of buzz? What a Tough Mudder buzz that I've missed on social media or something going on? Like, did they make some announcement or do away with something, or do you know anything I'm talking about? I feel like
I mean, at the end of or early 2019, they did away with prize money for all events, right? So there's no prize money for Tougher or for Toughest. There's no prize money for World's Toughest Mudder. I think from an outsider's perspective, I think the Tougher removing prize money there was probably a good business move. I don't think they were getting the return on investment. Like, there wasn't that many people running Tougher, in my opinion. So that was probably a good move. The Toughest and the World's Toughest, I did not think that was the best business move, but I guess we will see. I think a lot more people show up to those two events that think they can win prize money that can actually win prize money. So I think you'll have guys, who go and they blow up after a couple laps, and they were beforehand, they were like, oh, I definitely could win prize money this weekend. It's like, well, maybe not, maybe not. But so I guess that, with all these things, we vote as obstacle course races and as participants, but like with our money, right? So if you don't like that World's Toughest Mudder and Toughest Mudder removes prize money, don't show up to their events. That's my input. I'm still going to their events. I still I know what I like in OCR, and I like Toughest Mudder. I like that brand. I like those obstacles. I like that format. Like especially the obstacle density, right? 5 mile loop, 20 to 25 obstacles repeated over and over again. So I will still be going to Toughest Mudder and World's Toughest Mudder and stuff like that. And I don't necessarily race for the prize money. I understand the people who decided not to race toughest or World's Toughest this year. Like I get that. Again, you vote with your money. So if you don't like that decision, don't show up. If it doesn't bother you, then continue showing up. So, so there was that. There was some news about a kind of a lawsuit that came out with one of the original people that helped start the company. So there's a lot of naysaying. The format last year was 2 loops of the same. So essentially, it was 2 loops of the same course. You deviated slightly, but so people were upset with that. They went back to 1 loop. They changed essentially CEOs. Kyle, I believe his name is. I'm blanking right now on the last name, but so he was there. He was interacting with people. Seemed like a real cool dude. I mean, he was handing people beers before EST so they could go through and drink. I know before the weekend was over, he went through, like locked arms with people and went through EST. So also
Nice.
cool. Seemed kind of down to earth. Let's see what else. Yeah, and then I think a lot of the community was like, oh, they're back to their roots. They're back to the way. I didn't think there was a huge. I mean, I didn't like the 2-lap format last year, but I didn't think there was a huge decrease in quality last year. It definitely was a little bit, but I think Tough Mudder is the way they've always been, in my opinion. So.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, I feel like Tough Mudder started one way, and then they kind of I'd say recently in the whole grand scheme of Tough Mudder existence, started to try and cater more to the competitive elite wave with payouts. Because when I started OCR back in 2013, Tough Mudder wasn't paying out. So they tried it. It brought a couple bigger pro athlete elite names. But again, like you said, those 10 elites that signed up aren't the hundreds that are still signing up for non-competitive, or thousands, or obviously. So, I mean, I think, like you said, it might have shocked some people in the beginning, but it's kind of oh, Tough Mudder's back to what everybody loved about Tough Mudder. And that's why most Tough Mudder community people, it's kind of its own little sector of OCR that they kind of could care less, and it's back to what they started and loved. So
yeah, and like you said,
time will tell if it was a good idea or not, but that's, I think, back to its roots.
That's what's funny. I mean, the brand's been around since 2011, and they've only had prize money. They've always had prize money at World's Toughest, I believe. But as far as having a competitive wave and a Toughest Mudder, a 8-hour, which is now a 12-hour format, that's really only been the last 2 years. So it's almost like people
everybody's complaining, and it's dude, it was a test. They tried it and they didn't like it, so get over it. Go back to normal.
Yeah. So, but I thought the event was good, and I will say, just from seeing people post online, their customer service is getting better. They were, when you get to that large of an organization, I think the bureaucracy starts stifling you, right? And it becomes harder to deal with. I mean, they're managing so many things, so many events, and all these complaints. And I know they're tough. Their actual customer support's getting better. They're being more responsive and stuff like that, which is good to hear. I will say, as someone who I'm an admin on several Facebook pages, and I also have Strength and Speed. So I will say, sometimes in customer support, you'll get questions and you'll be like, is this dude seriously emailing me about this? So I also feel some of their pain, right? You'll get, you'll be on the Conquer the Gauntlet page or something. Someone will be like, how do I register? And you're like, what are you kidding me? There's a giant register button. I don't even understand how to answer that. You're on the,
I don't know if it's just if it's just social media, or people are actually getting lazier and more dumb, because it's they literally would rather send an email or a question and wait for a response than just take that extra click to go find what they're looking for. And again, it's people don't ever put themselves in the shoes on the back end. On race, the night before the race, do you know how many emails these race companies get people? I mean, you don't. That's the problem, is unless you have worked for an obstacle course race or just an event in general, people think, I feel for any sport, obstacle course racing, I mean, I haven't been a professional in another sport, but do you think the people are bugging the NBA bureaucrats and owners with these little nitpicky emails every night? Oh, I forgot to wash my jersey. I don't know, like the dumbest things. Like you just have to imagine that is what all of these race owners and customer service and people with registration are dealing with. Like the week before the race, 2 days before the race, you get the dumbest things, and you're like, oh my gosh, you function in your daily life. This is scary.
So
and that's what happens.
I'll tell one more customer service. So they updated. So on the World's Toughest Mudder page, at the bottom of the page, it has a list of champions, right? So it has individual male, individual female, and then team. Now the team category, there wasn't a relay option until 2 years ago. So 2017, 2018 are the only two that had a relay option. And 2017, they put the classic team, the 2+ man winners there, and they put the relay team. And then when they updated 2018, they just put the relay team. So I was like, all right, let me email them, right? Because, Atomic Climbing Holds, we were in an agreement that they sponsored us for that event. So I was like, well, I want to make sure their name gets up there because they supported us. So I emailed Tough Mudder headquarters a couple times, and I eventually ended up getting someone whose response. And Brennan knows where the story is going. And I'm like, hey, you left us off the champions page. Can you please add Team Atomic 75 miles 2018 to there? And they respond back, and they're like, I'm sorry, the champions page is only for people who have won the event, and you did not win. And I was like, what? And I completely lost it. I was like yelling at my computer. I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, absolutely lose it. And then I'm like, so I was like, all right, let me calm down. So then I had to go back and I explained, again, the guy working customer service is used to dealing with probably, transferring registrations and switching wave times, all stuff like that. So he or she probably does not understand the different categories very well, even though it's within their own brand. So I was like, all right, let me calm down. I sent them pictures from the award ceremony of them like handing me an award and like my name up on the giant big screen and like us crossing the finish line in yellow bibs and like all that stuff. And I was like, can you please, I again tried to be reasonable and calm when I sent the email, and they eventually added us. So the fact that they added us again shows their better customer service.
Exactly. They follow through. But as a disclaimer for those listening, like this might just sound petty or something, but that's a world event, and it is something that, like, you, Evan, personally, I'm like speaking for you, that you work your ass off, and to get up on that podium and just not have your name like on the, I mean, like you said, sponsors and everything you've worked for. It's like, I'm not trying to whine and complain and bitch, but put my name where it belongs, please. Like, I worked really hard for this, and that means something to me.
Yeah, I think with all that stuff, it's expectation management, right? So if I expect something, if you tell me I'm going to get something, then I expect that you to follow through. Versus if you tell me, right, like I know a year out now there's no prize money, and all right, I've accepted that. So I'm not going to show up on race weekend and be like, why isn't there prize money, right? Like expectation management when you kind of expect when you know what to get, you're about to get, and they should fulfill what they told you they were going to do. So.
Well, exactly, and that's, I mean, we did kind of completely digress, but anyways, it's all still OCR. But it's like businesses, and you say you're promised something or you're going to get something, and then here as a consumer, you're giving them money for whatever you're being told. You expect it when you're said and done supposed to be getting it. So it's like, man, the fact that I have to jump through these hoops, but like you said, they're getting better, they're responding. And I think as like a community of athletes, that's what most people ask for and hope for, is just to be like acknowledged and recognized in customer service, from whoever they're emailing, like to get some help from whatever they were asking for.
Right, and I also recognize that, the majority, I'm not the majority of the consumers, right? I'm one person, so that's the other thing. The majority of people emailing customer service are, make up every wave after, 8 a.m. through noon. So I try to calm myself down and be like, all right, well, I'm just one guy that's part of the event, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, now that we completely went, like, off track, like we can do, I mentioned before you said Tough Mudder, because that was, like, completely opposite coast. Where were you, like, did I not see, like, a week ago in complete snow? And then now here I'm enjoying spring weather.
Yeah, so my work schedule changed, and I was actually able to go to the Hammer race for the second year in a row, which is one of the most unique OCRs, which I covered in my book, Ultimate Obstacle Course Race Bucket List. So check that out again. But so the race is a 10-kilometer race through pretty hilly terrain, so you're constantly kind of going up or down, but they're small kind of steep ones. So a little more technical, kind of a little bit more reminiscent of Mud Guts and Glory, Battlefrog Cincinnati type stuff. Not quite that bad, but similar. Parts were similar to that. And the cool part is, again, you're carrying a 8-pound sledgehammer each person. So you carry your own sledgehammer, and all of the obstacles are sledgehammer themed. So there's stuff like kind of like Conquer the Gauntlet's Hammer Time, right? You hit a block down and back. There are tire drags, so you put it through, like there's a pre-cut hole in the tire on the side wall, and you put the hammer through there and drag a set of 2 tires stuck together. There's one that's more like a hobo carry or tire carry. So again, you put the hammer through the tire and you carry it around like a loop. They had some strength obstacles that involved like carrying an Atlas stone. They added some grip obstacles this year, which was super cool because they did not have that last year. So they had
with your hammer.
Nah, so you get to put the hammer down for that. So you kind of and they do it well. They do it really well. So they have the grip obstacles are always at kind of like a U-turn. So you can put your hammer down, you do the obstacle, and then you essentially make a U-turn and you pick up your hammer right away again.
Oh, nice.
As opposed to you having to like go back and then go back.
Yeah, backtrack. So
another one that was like I think it like Spartan's Stairway to Sparta. So it's basically a inclined or inverse ladder, or kind of like what's the CTG one? That's a inverted
ladder.
Yeah.
Isn't it? I don't know.
I don't know. I wrote a book about it. I can't even remember the name. It's like that one, but it was with pipes instead of wooden slats.
Oh, gotcha. That's cool. So was this a new format, or did they have both formats and it was new this year for you to do the team? Because didn't you run individually last year, or is it always a team event?
Correct. So this is not a new format. They have a team and individual. So they do individual male and female elite at the beginning of the race. And then the next wave is teams. And you have to be in a team of 5 and you have to stay together essentially. So it's gender neutral. It doesn't matter if you have male or female on your team. And the first team across the line with all 5 people in their hammers and complete all the obstacles appropriately is the winner. So cool part about that
I've never heard of a team of 5. So like, did you have to were there like team obstacles, or was it like you all just had to complete them individually?
A lot of them were you all complete individually, but there were some that were team based. So instead of the log carry being like a short log, it was 2 railroad ties for the 5 people, and they were heavy. I don't know how long those things have been sitting outside collecting moisture and hardening, but they like picked it up, and I was like, oh damn. So there was that. The one with the Atlas stone. Essentially, you each had to carry the Atlas stone. So, but you had to be in the same lane, so you couldn't, all 5 of you couldn't show up, take over the obstacles, and then have like the next 5 guys do the obstacle, right? Like you had to be, like in the monkey bars, you're supposed to all go down the same lane, so you're not clogging the obstacle.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
Basically can't advance because you like all pick different lanes.
Right. Yeah.
Very cool. And so you said they're like for the teams, it's just one team division. There wasn't like a male, a female, and a co-ed team division.
No, I don't think they have enough people. They're not getting enough people to break it apart like that. So it was just gender neutral. All the teams that showed up, at least this year, were all male. So there's a couple of 5-man male teams. One of the nice things they did do was they added age group awards. So last year, basically the winner got a Thor's hammer, and it's legit. It's like probably 15, 16 pounds. It's awesome looking. So the female winner got that. The male winner got that. And then if you were on a team, all 5 team members got that. And then this year they added age group awards. So they were like little, I don't know, the little stone, 8-inch, 10-inch trophy type things. It says you won your age group, which I thought was really cool. I'm always a fan when they do age group awards for any OCR series. I think that's how you keep motivating people to continue to get better, because there's a long gap between like, hey, I finished the course to, hey, now I'm on the overall podium, right? There's a long training and, work gap there that I think should be rewarded.
I'm ready to get on I completely agree. I like age groups. I'll say that. I cause drama. I say.
Oh yeah, no, you can talk about that. I don't think that's an unreasonable request.
Okay, so just to clarify on the age group thing, I love age groups. And like you said, it motivates people. I mean, I have been atop many age groups because when I don't make the regular podium, like I get an age group medal. And I love it and I'm proud of it and I state it. I also stated that I got second in my age group, sixth female overall. So there's a difference. And I had a recent post on my Facebook page. I've said it before. I work really hard, and so do a lot of athletes, pros, elites, whatever. Work really hard, train really hard to get to the top or get to where they are. So when I reach a podium, third, second, first place female overall, it's amazing. That's my goal. I always want first. I go to a race and I'm shooting for first. Might come out sixth, might come out 15th, but like I'm planning to do first place. That's what I want. That's just my athletic goal. So to go to a race, in my example, Savage, Texas, to go there and come from sixth place in the first two races, depending on, I don't care who the competition was. Yes, there was some different competition, less competition, whatever. I got third place female Saturday and Sunday. Very proud of that. I worked hard. Sunday was hard. I had a rough month before, got back in my funk after Kuwait, whatever. So then to turn around on Monday and see multiple posts, and it happens from Spartan race, it happens from every race series, especially now that like Spartan has kind of made it a bigger deal with age groups, with like they get a podium, they get a plaque, they get recognized. So does Savage race. To come home and on Monday wake up and see a post that I went to Savage Race Central Texas and it was awesome, and I got third place in my race. I'm like, what? Cool. You got third? Because I'm pretty sure I came home with a check. 2 checks, actually. I don't know. So again, this is me being nitpicky because it's like, wow. So a bunch of people are seeing that this girl got third place at Savage Race. Like, maybe they don't care. Maybe they don't see it. To me, I worked really hard for third place, and she got third place in her age group. So why not say that and be proud that you got third place in your age group and you're working hard and you're training and you have a sponsor? Awesome. Good for you. Please clarify, because first place with $1,000 and a big wooden axe to first place in your 35 to 39 age group, big difference. And like some people are like, Bruna, just be proud of your third place. What does it matter to the others? Blah, blah, blah. I am very proud of my third place, but I also feel that it takes away from the legitimacy of our sport, where people are trying to make this like a legitimate professional sport. It also takes away from the hard work that people put in to get to the official podium. And it's just like, why are you lying and cheating yourself and portraying yourself to the public that they don't know any better? Like a lot of people, I've got friends that don't do this sport. So they see that I got first, second, or third place, and they think that's so awesome because like just most outsiders, first, second, or third place means something pretty cool. So when you say you got first place, but it was really first place in your age group, you're lying to like the general public. And that's my point. And people are like, oh, calm down, Brenda, stop being so blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, sorry. It's like not a lie. There's no hidden line there. Like,
well, I don't think we need to get angry about it. I think some of these people may just not understand the etiquette, right? Like when you if I go run on a track, there are people walking on the inside lane, which is typically where the running occurs, right? Like some people, I think, you just shoot them an email.
I don't know. Really though? People don't know the difference between age group and overall, like money and not money.
Well, no, I think I think them as an athlete understand. They may not understand when they post. I mean, maybe some are purposely misleading people. I think it might be a simple oversight, right? Like, because all you ever think is age group.
Is that my clarification is that when it's people that are like, I'm a pro athlete and I got third, but they got third in their age group, and they're just saying that because they're getting sponsors from that. I'm like, you're lying to to get sponsors. And that specific post was a person that like says they're a sponsored pro athlete, and they have a sponsor. Like, yay, that's exciting. You can get sponsors from age. Like, you don't have to be on the podium to get sponsors. That's
no, absolutely not. It's about reaching people and connecting with people, right? Like you can lead a group of, you can be the leader of like. Lucas doesn't race that much. Lucas Fonensteel, who's on the CTG Pro Team, he's not on the Pro Team anymore. Doesn't race that much, but he still has sponsors because he helps run KCOCR, and he connects with people that way. So,
and I guess my point that the posts I've made, and maybe I should call the person out so that people understand, is like I'm talking about someone that knows better.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm not trying to harp on, like, I'm
not.
not pulling Benny Gifford's a friend of mine. I'm not pulling a Benny and saying, like, you knocking the open waivers. Like, I'm just saying, for people that know better, that claim to be sponsored or a professional athlete, please don't lie to your sponsors or the general public and try to prove that you are something you're not. Because, like I said, it takes away from the hard work of those that are doing it, and it takes away from the legitimacy of the sport that so many think that OCR can be or want it to be. Whatever. But
Yeah, I think it comes down to being specific, right? Like when I talk about World's Toughest Mudder, like I don't say I won World's Toughest Mudder, period. Right? And then I'm just like, because that technically is a true statement. I always say I won the team division at World's Toughest Mudder. So I always add the word team in there so people know there's a difference, right? Because I think that would be disrespectful to, Chris this past year since he won the individual one, right? Like, which with a lot more miles. So,
And I mean, team's a different thing too, because I mean, how many people can actually like keep their teammates together to compete at the same level? I mean, so it's like, yeah, just be honest, people. Be specific if you know better. And again, if you're like a first timer and you were so excited because you got on the podium in your age group and you say you got second place, I'm not gonna like make a post about you. Like, come on, like people, I know better. So, I mean, for harping on social media, like, yes, everybody bitches and whines and complains and says whatever they want. Like, I make a post and people are like, holy crap, Brenna. I'm like, no, don't be idiots.
So, speaking of winning, so we did, back to the hammer race, now that we've strayed off topic. We did the hammer race, and it was me, Scott Warzecki, who's on the Neptune/Alpha Racing team, who used to be on the Battlegrounds. Rob Greer, he's a World's Toughest Mudder and ultra runner guy. From Minnesota. And then we had Jacob Stone, one of the Strength and Speed development team guys on there, who also a CTG regular. And then Brian Fisher, another one of the Strength and Speed development team guys, got a cochlear implant, right? So he's technically deaf, without the hearing aid. But here's what was the coolest part of the race for me, right? So last year I went and I won, and kind of speaking of expectations, right? Like, when I show up to a race, I generally expect to finish in the top 10 typically. Because that's what, historically the races I go to, that's where I finish. Sometimes I win, sometimes I podium, sometimes I'm in 10th, right? And sometimes I'm out of there. What was cool though was Jacob and Brian had never won an OCR before. And as a team, we were able to, come away with the win overall. And I mean, we were pushing those guys hard, right? Because like I did not want to drive that far, and we kind of signed up last minute too because of my change in schedule. That I was like, and I put the team together, so I was like, oh, like we have to win because I kind of peer pressured everyone into showing up here, right? So like, winning was great for me, but what was better was watching them win as part of the team, and being around while they, some of their families was there, and then some of them called afterwards, and kind of like hearing the excitement on their family's voice that they won the race and they're coming home with like a big hammer, which was cool. Yeah, like that was the best part of it. It really was to kind of share that again.
I'm so proud because I love. The whole team's awesome and you're awesome, but Jacob Stone's a good buddy of mine, so that's so awesome.
Yeah, it was good. We had a good time too. We drove up and back essentially, almost 24 hours apart, and we're BSing the whole way about OCR and telling some Iraqi war stories and stuff like that. So we had a good talk. It was fun.
Very cool, man, and lots of snow. It's crazy.
That's snow, right? So this is last year.
That's all I was like, did we even say that? Yeah.
Last year, the April event, which is their spring event, got snowed out, as in they canceled the competitive wave. They let the open waivers still run. So I ended up not doing that, but I drove up and back through a snowstorm, which was terrible. And I was like, well, surely it's not going to snow 2 years in a row. And of course it did. And I'd say anywhere between like 2 and 5 inches along the course. So that definitely made for a different experience, definitely slowed you down. And it was pretty funny. Like I ran that Saturday, we drove all the way back home. I get home and I check Facebook, and someone in the Kansas City obstacle course racing group, this is another reason you should join an obstacle course racing group if you're not part of it, was like, hey, I signed up for KC Timber Challenge, the permanent OCR facility that's in Kansas City. and I can't go tomorrow. Does anyone want my ticket for free? And I was like, well, I'm not going to turn down a free one. And it's like literally down the road from my house. So yeah, I'll go. So I woke up the next morning. I got back at 10, like went to bed, woke up the next morning and went and ran 3 laps of KC Timber Challenges course, which is always fun. And they have some pretty cool stuff there. If you haven't been there in a while, they've definitely improved it significantly. And in the warmer races like this one, the zip line is open. So you, as part of like the race, you slide down the zip line.
So, okay, I saw a picture today that was tagged of you from that. And I remember from CTG XTC, we didn't get to do it, but I think it's there. And is it like the way I remember seeing it in the woods? They have a rig of rings. Does it turn and go uphill?
It does. Yeah, it turns and goes uphill. It's a 2-lane rig turning uphill, or depending on which way they run the course, sometimes they run in reverse. So sometimes it's turning and downhill. But yeah, they just redid the walls there. So they used to have 3 like 8-foot walls, and now it's like I think a 6, a 7, and an 8-foot wall. So it gets progressively bigger or shorter as you go if you're the other direction. They just rebuilt this big A-frame that's in the woods. They just got new ropes. So they used to have these super thin ropes that were hard to grab, and they're a lot thicker, nicer nylon. But yeah, it's really cool seeing all the changes they've made. And, you know, with the permanent facility, they keep making these like tiny modifications from event to event, and it keeps getting better and better. So most of their races are not competitive. So I usually go out there and just have a couple training laps for fun. It's about a 5K to 5-mile course, depending on what kind of route they take you. But
What time of the year? Don't they do 2 a year, right?
more than that, they do like 5.
Oh, shit. Okay.
They do a winter one, the Yeti, which is the one you saw me smashing a car at. They do Timber Challenge, which is the one the April one. They do a women's race. So only women can go, or if you want to go and drag as a man, you can do that too. Which is pretty amusing.
Well, I was like, why do I feel like that would not deter too many people?
I know. So Cody Payton, who used to be a coach, went to it one year. Yeah.
Of course he did. Cody, missed that kid.
Yeah. So they do that. They do a family timber challenge, so a little more family oriented, and then they do the extreme timber challenge usually in September, and that's their one-timed event a year. And no prize money, but they do offer. Well, at least last year they had prizes that like essentially you get. You know, they have like a huge zip line on course, and they do like a haunted woods type thing. Since if you got on the podium, you got essentially like free passes to that or something similar. So,
oh, nice.
It's cool, and they really started.
Because I remember like you said, they're getting better, and this isn't to like knock a race series, but I do remember they went through some growing pains and some struggles from when like I was at their course as part of CTG XTC. And then just kind of on the back end with communication, like talking with them about their courses and then hearing feedback. Because I remember in the beginning, there were some just kind of not the best reviews or feedback, but to hear that like the local people and the groups that are close keep going and they're getting better and they're spreading the good feedback is amazing. Because you can always, if you're a good company, you listen to your feedback and you grow and you improve. And that's what they're doing. And that's awesome to hear that they didn't just like try to be buttheads and not listen to anybody and go under that way, because that's what happens sometimes. You know, if they didn't want to listen to anybody, no one was going to pay the money and go. So they're still going, and they have 5 events a year, which is pretty cool. And that excites me because I should be back living in Kansas before the end of the year, I guess. Who knows? And I want to go give them another shot once it's more local for me.
Gotcha. All right. Well, let's jump back into a little bit more about your life and InsideTracker, right? So tell us about your experience.
So, like we said at the beginning of the podcast, InsideTracker is a company that tests your blood for a bunch of different biomarkers, basically like all your vitamins, vitamin E, D, all your vitamin B, plus the white blood cells. It does the whole thing. So the whole process is really easy because people are like, oh, so you have to go like get hooked up to machines and all this stuff. No, you sign up online. They have a really user-friendly website, really good customer service, like communication as you're doing the whole process. And you basically like you can pick different levels of like what you want tested type of thing. They also do like a DNA testing too. And they set you up.
Do you remember which level you went with off the top of your head?
I don't know the name. It was like the gold. It was basically like the top package where you get all of the biomarkers, like the most.
So yeah, you're the one with like 42 biomarkers, right? Okay, yeah.
And so you can do one where there's less, or you can do one that's got like the 42 biomarkers plus DNA test. So I basically, and my point behind doing this is like, why would you do this? Well, as an athlete personally and non-athletically, I haven't had the best diet forever. I'm now working with dietitian, or one of our sponsors, Luke Labonte, for the team. I wanted to see, and I've never had all these tests done, to kind of like see what I was deficient in, or what I had too much of, and what it affects in my training or life, like sleep and diet and stuff. So I decided to go ahead and sign up and do this testing. And you basically sign up, pay, pick your package. They contact you, and it's like a user-friendly dashboard online, and it tells you, like, pick your, go ahead and schedule your tests. So it gives you all the locations, because people are like, where do you do this? Well, it's diagnostic testing centers all around. You just enter like your location, where you are, and your radius of where you want to go, pick the testing center. Some are by appointment. The one I happened to go to was like walk-in. They give you very specific instructions online, like the night before your testing, you have to do a 12-hour fast. Funny story, I have been trying to do it for like 3 weeks in a row. So for 3 weeks on Wednesday night, I would fast for 12 hours, and then something would happen Thursday morning, and my schedule got all messed up, and I wasn't able to go. So I was like super angry and fasting for no reason. And then finally, it worked out. So you fast for 12 hours. They tell you like it's best to do it first thing in the morning, because of a certain, one of the biomarkers is like red best in the morning. I can't remember which one, but anyways, they walk you through it. So I picked my clinic. It was 10 minutes from where I live. Went in at 7 a.m. They basically like have you print out a little sheet from the website, and it is like you give it to the doctor or to the testing center, and it tells them what they're testing for. So you go in. I walked right in, and my test itself was 5 tubes of blood were drawn. I will say I personally like needles. I have a lot of piercings and tattoos, so it wasn't an issue for me. I do know that like some have needle issues, but again, yes, you're getting blood drawn, so it's no way around that. But yeah.
One of the times when I went, they had do they have a butterfly needle? You know what that is?
No.
It looks like a butterfly.
No.
So
why? Why?
I don't know. It's a needle, but it has like this little plastic thing that looks like a butterfly, and it prevents you, when you insert the needle, it makes it a lot easier to draw blood, is what it does. Without explaining you all the details of, drawing blood or giving an IV.
Yeah. No, I think mine was normal. I don't know. Like I said.
Side Army story, right? You give IVs for training. It's back when I was on a team, and you give IVs for training. You put the IV in, and if you don't, I would have liked a butterfly needle, because when the butterfly needle goes in, it stops the flow of blood immediately. So essentially, you don't have to do anything. But if you use a regular needle, when you put it in, and if you're not clamping down, if you're not pressing down on the vein, essentially blood starts pouring out of the guy's arm. So there's like blood everywhere, and then people are panicking. It's funny. We have a good time. Anyway, butterfly needles, they're awesome. Yeah, check them out.
I don't think I had a butterfly needle, but I also didn't have blood flying everywhere, everybody, so don't worry. They're medical professionals.
Yeah, they're medical professionals, so they wouldn't have that problem anyway. But, when you get a bunch of Army guys in a room, trying to, and they're medics trying to teach them to do IVs or something, it gets a little crazy.
Yeah. No wonder why Brenna and Evan could get off topic. Anyway, so they drew 5 tubes of blood from me. I was in and out in like 10-15 minutes. So again, I went right when the clinic opened, got it done. They send off the results. They put, your sticker with your name. They just ask you to verify it. You don't have to tell them. They're like, what are you here for? And I was just said blood work. And they're like, okay, they take your paper from you. Left. And then it was a week to the day that you get like a notification from email in your dashboard that your blood results are in. And again, it's so user friendly. Your email has like a click to the link. And then you stated before, it's not like written in doctor jargon, if that makes sense. Like it basically lists, you can search by your results by category. So you can look at like different biomarkers or just list them all together. And then it breaks it down. So like every biomarker that they tested, it tells you a healthy range of like what they're expecting, moderate, a high risk, at risk, whatever, and it tells you where you fall in that range. And then based off where you fall for that biomarker, they give you recommendations, whether it be it gives you food recommendations for things you can eat to eliminate or add to that biomarker. It also tells you I can't remember specifically which one. I mean, there were so many. I printed out the sheets and I have this little form I just kind of made myself because I was nerding out on it because it's so much information. But I basically, for myself, you can go in and make a note of what you want to focus on. So if you want to focus on stress management reduction or better sleep or better recovery, or you specifically want to work on your iron issues, deficiencies, or something you think that you have, you can click on that.
Fitness goals too, so they have strength or muscle increase or endurance and stuff like that. So
so you basically click, and you can change it, but you click on what your goal is, and then it kind of generates this whole plan for you towards that goal based off your biomarker results. So I initially clicked on sleep because I'm working on 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night. Part of it, my anxiety and depression at night, part of it, my schedule. So then I looked at all my results, and it gives me things like food options that help with different things, but then it gives you lifestyle options too. So for my sleep and things, it suggested daily meditation in a way. It's do this for the day. And then the other cool thing is you can set up reminders. So based off your plan and the suggestions of whether diet things that it suggests you, I get email reminders and text reminders of InsideTracker check-in. Did you follow your suggestions today? Did you eat more beans? Did you eat less animal fat? Did you do your daily cognitive thinking, or whatever the wording it is for meditation, basically, to help my brain? So I basically get a reminder every day of did you do this? And you answer yes, no, and then it kind of sends you. It's a little personal trainer from InsideTracker.
Accountability. It's an accountability mechanism. Yeah. It's nice.
Yeah, and so I love it because I looked at it and I was oh crap, I ate a lot of animal fat today. Let me remember that tomorrow, because again, after you do your test results, it basically sets up a plan, and it's 90 days or whatever it was you're working towards. It's okay, in 90 days, if you keep doing these things, retest and let's see where you're at, type of thing. So it's not, I wouldn't say just the athletes, it's not just for competitive athletes. It's basically everything. And I'm 30, going on almost 32 in the next month or so. And I wasn't doing it necessarily just for my athletic career right now. I'm doing it for changing my lifestyle and a healthier lifestyle when it comes to sleep and stress management. And it was really cool because I got results back. There was one thing that I thought I'd be deficient in that I actually was pretty moderate in. I'd take a vitamin supplement, and then I was so happy to see my vitamin D levels are awesome. I was yes, because I get a lot of sunshine. I'm so excited. It was just really cool to see. And it tells you what to do. And I don't know, it was so easy. They have a share option. So you can give the permission to share your test results. And so basically I shared mine with the team, our dietitian, Luke Levante, and I was hey, here are my test results. Does it mean anything different to you, being certain, understanding it a little bit more scientifically? Should I incorporate, can you help me with my diet plan? So if you have coaches or trainers, I also sent it to my coach, Nancy, same thing. I was hey, what do you think of these results? Because part of it came back saying I'm overtraining, or I'm doing too many hard, extensive workouts. And so me seeing that as an athlete, I'm that, I don't believe that. I don't want to read that on a piece of paper. So I sent it to my coach so that if he can hold me accountable for scaling back when I need, based off of what my actual internal body is saying, not just what I feel like I'm doing. So I highly recommend people checking it out. I've seen more and more athletes and people posting recently that they're using it. I know you did it, I think, before World's Toughest, right?
I did it before and after Endure the Gauntlet.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and it definitely helped me because it basically showed me that I was overtraining and to be a little more aggressive with my taper, so I came in a little bit better shape. And some of my results actually afterwards were, I had better biomarkers because I essentially did the event and then I stopped doing stuff for 5 days before I got the second blood draw.
Well, it's like your brain feels one way, but your body is obviously going to like tell the official results. And again, as athletes, we might not want to hear it, but it's like, okay, well, let's follow through with this and give it a chance. See if it works. 90 days, test it again. You'll tell like from your results, from your sleep better or not. And then, I don't know, I think Lindsay Webster, I believe I just saw recently was using it. I mean, I've seen some names that I didn't know. Like I never heard of this until past year or so. And I just was like, oh, wait, people go get blood test results for, I just always think of blood tests for like medical issues. Like you've got something wrong, you get a blood test. So for those that don't know, it tells you a lot about just your lifestyle in general. So I highly recommend if you feel like there's things that you need to change and you're not sure what, or like dietary issues sometimes. I mean, people have like diet issues and they don't know what their problem is. Well, you can go do your blood work and it'll tell you that like you need more vitamin B or I need less animal fat apparently, because apparently I love bacon and so I eat it every day, and these things will help me recover better and sleep better.
I could have told you that's not the recommended option there.
Shut up. We're at breakfast diner and it's so yummy.
And I think if your diet's not super good, I think you actually get more out of it than someone who already has everything kind of fine-tuned in. So, I mean, it's great, obviously great for top athletes if they're trying to fine-tune top performance. But I actually think it's probably even more valuable for someone who, you know, may just be getting into this fitness lifestyle and wants to improve and is a little bit lost, may not know exactly what they need to do to change their diet. I think that it actually is more of a benefit to them. Just my 2 cents.
Well, like you said, because like a dietitian or a diet or whatever you're working on might just tell you like, to lose weight, you do this, cut out your carbs and do this, or try the keto diet, whatever. But until you, like you said, I mean, if you're just starting and you really want to know what your body is feeling and reading, your blood's going to tell it. And you might have no idea. They're like, oh my gosh. And the cool thing was you can go in and select like there's an option of like food menu or food recommendations, and you click on it and then it's like food preferences. So you can basically go in there and based off all the recommendations that they give you, I mean, they would tell you everything, or you can go in and say, I don't want fish, I don't want dairy. Like if you are on a vegetarian diet or something, you can go in and select all those options and then click generate, and they will give you all of the things that are going to help you and benefit you around those preferences. It's like, wow, I don't have to read through a bunch of things that I don't want to eat or I'm not eating, and I get exactly what I want. So it's very streamlined and very user-friendly, customer-friendly for something like that. Like you don't have to go to a doctor and understand, like have a doctor explain it all to you. So I highly recommend people checking out InsideTracker.
Cool. Well, I think that's going to kind of wrap things up. Before we go, any final shout outs you want to give, Brenna?
Crap, wasn't thinking. I will just say, because we didn't get to talk about it a whole lot. So everybody, Conquer Youth season is kicking off. So my shout out is to the Conquer Youth family, Main Prize, David Main Prize, and Lori Main Prize. They just did their Tampa event last weekend, and this coming weekend, I don't know when this comes out. So the 27th of April will be Conquer Youth Atlanta. I will be there for that. And then the next weekend is Conquer Youth Denver. So get your kids out. It's fun. It's for ages 5 to 17. Lots of cool things for this year. All the kids get a medal, a wristband, a bag, and it's OCR and Ninja for kids. So that's my shout out. Check out Conquer Youth for sure.
Yeah, I'm hoping to make the one at the Kansas City, which is going to be early June. It's like the 8th or something. So my daughter's been training. Kind of.
Oh man, I got to check. Can I go? I'm going to cheer on Smidge because she's cheered us on before so much.
So, you know, proud dad moment here. We bought her new running shoes. And by running shoes, I mean they're like the shoes that light up when you step. So she wears them.
Are they LA Gear?
No, they're Skechers, I think.
They're still
so
exist.
we buy them and they're, I keep calling them running shoes. So when we get them home, she's like, Dad, can we go running? I was like, yeah, we can go running. Are you serious? And she ran, like, she's 4. She ran a half mile without stopping. She stopped once. She stopped once because she had a cramp, and then once to look at a bird. But she ran for a half mile nonstop. I was like, this is insane. So
Smidge.
Yeah.
I wonder who your dad is.
So we'll be at Conquer Youth, Kansas City, Crushing Souls. We'll be wearing matching outfits or something.
Oh my God, I'm gonna like cancel my race whatever day I'm going.
Yeah. Unless my wife is in labor, then I will be at the hospital. But yeah.
Oh, Lil Bean! So much excitement for the Purpose family.
Yeah.
Anyways, who are your shout outs to? What you got?
So I have entered the 21st century officially and started publishing my books online also. So Kindle, I actually found it's super easy, and big shout out to Rob Steger, who will be the next guest on the podcast, for giving me the very simple instructions, which I'm almost embarrassed at how simple they are. It's so easy. I was like, oh, why didn't I do this a year ago? Anyway, Mud Run Guide's ultra-ocr Bible is now up on Kindle. And Conquering the Gauntlet, the book specifically for preparing for CTG, will be up on Kindle. And then I'm hoping to get Strength and Speed's Guide to Elite Obstacle Course Racing up there by the end of this year. And basically, eventually all my books will be up on Kindle. But some of them may take a couple months kind of as I fine-tune and edit them. And because when you upload it, it kind of reformats it, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. But not too bad.
I'm just going to interject and say, welcome to technology, but I'm a weirdo and I still like paper books. So for all of you, if you come to the CTG races and you buy Evan's book from our protein tent, he will write you a personal autograph message in there. And that is way cooler than an online book. But if you can't do that, get his online book because it's pretty cool too.
I like paper books too, which is why I lean towards that, and which is why I print them. I like physically having a copy, especially for something that's like a training book where it has training plans, because I like being able to like look at the plan and all at once and kind of like flip back and forth between pages, but
and make notes and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
I don't know. There's benefits to having it digital too, right? Like you can download the Kindle app to your phone, and then you're walking around with all my training plans in your pocket at all times.
Which is pretty cool because it's like you have a little Evan in your pocket everywhere you go.
It's so creepy.
With all that insight.
Just living in your pocket, hanging out on your phone with all your creepy, inappropriate pictures. Yeah.
Oh man! But wait, before we go, I did forget that when are we putting this out, Evan? When's
the 28th.
Okay, so we're like almost just a little over a month out. Conquer the Gauntlet, first race of the season, Dallas, June 1st is gonna be awesome. So everybody, mark your calendars if you haven't signed up. CTG Dallas, and they have a continuum, which is new this year. Basically, like Evan's Wheelhouse, where you basically start with the elite wave and you run the elite lap, and then you continue for like 5 hours. Some of the big obstacles will have like a penalty, so you basically like stairway, Pegatron, certain things like that. There's also bibs, which is kind of cool because people like their like takeaway stuff. So if you run the continuum, you get, I'm pretty sure, like a wear over your shirt bib.
Yeah.
So yeah, CTG kicking off, Conquer Youth and CTG regular season. Woohoo!
And if you listen to the podcast, or if you don't listen to the podcast, I don't know how you'd be able to hear this. Stop by the Pro Team tent, right? We have a Conquer the Gauntlet Pro Team tent. You can hang out there. You don't have to be on the Pro Team to come hang out with us. We like people. We like interacting at OCR.
We invite you in.
We'll also have some free samples from some of the sponsors. So Rock Tape just sent us Rock Sauce Fire and Rock Sauce Ice. So it's like Icy Hot if Icy Hot wasn't crappy. Like it's awesome. It's way better than Icy Hot. The Fire, my knee was bothering me last week after I did a 20-mile run. It was kind of like swollen, and I put the Fire on it, and it felt instantly better. And I was actually upset because like science tells me it shouldn't work this well. I was like, why does my knee feel this much better? I was like, this doesn't make sound logical sense. But yeah, it's legit. It like heals things immediately, and then the pain will eventually come back. But it is like as a short-term fix. I mean, I love that stuff. It is so good, and it does.
Well, like Eva said, that's the cool part of our tent. Like we've got samples. You can try things that like you might not want to necessarily purchase without trying it, like an internet product or something. From our sponsors, the Conquer the Gauntlet Pro Team, we're very fortunate, and I think we have 18 different sponsors, and we have a lot of cool things that we can show you guys at the tent and show you how to use them. We have certified rock tape tapers, so if you want to get taped before your race, Nathan would request that you come like 30 minutes before, but whatever, come see us. We've got a couple different athletes that can tape you up. We have like complex units that you can check out and kind of see if you wanted like a muscle stimulator. I even have from Rock Tape, we just have for the team to show off the rock pods. So basically, like if you've seen the cupping that a lot of people do that leave those really cool little circle bruises all over you, Rock Tape makes rock pods that are like, you can travel with them and do that yourself. So we'll have those at the tent to let you test out. And yeah, so come check us out at Conquer the Gauntlet at our protein tent. We're friendly, most of us.
And speaking of Rock Tape, they just merged, or I guess a parent company just bought them, which also owns Trigger Point. So if you're familiar with like the foam rollers and stuff like that, they're now essentially part of the same brand, which is pretty cool. Because we just picked up a bunch of foam rollers for the team for, self-massage, relaxation, muscle.
Yeah. And they got camo ones, everybody.
You got the camo one. The one I have has like these like tiny little spikes on it. It looks painful, and I'm excited to give it a test run. Because they literally just came in probably like 2 hours before we started recording this. So
nice.
I have not even used it yet, but it is sitting upstairs.
Last thing I'm going to say, I am excited because we're going to have guests soon, and hopefully I'll be a part of it because I kind of have missed our like random fact thing, and I've got a list going. So everybody pay attention for the next episode that has a guest on it. Evan and I do little fun facts.
That is true.
Prepared.
Would you like to do one now? We can do one now if you really feel the need.
I mean, I kind of want to. I mean, I know you just like, you're quick with them because you're just full of all these random things.
I got all sorts of random stuff. I'll leave it. Okay, you go start off. Go for it. Yeah, give me one.
Okay.
Then we'll get out of here.
All right. So in my previous life, a lot of people don't know, I used to be a like official Capitol realtor. Like I was a realtor in Texas back when I was like 21. That's really cool because like I passed the test on my first try. So if you've ever taken a real estate test, it's really hard to pass apparently. And I got it by like one question. If I missed one more, I was going to fail. So here's the flip side to that. When I was in Ohio, I tried to be a life insurance salesman person. It was really stupid. I took that test 3 times, failed it 3 times, and gave up. So I quit. I gave up. I passed the real estate test first try, insurance test 3 times, and I had to pay for it each time. And I was like, "Fuck this! I'm done." Apparently, I'm not going to be a life insurance salesperson.
Boom. All right. I don't have really good any story that kind of relates to that. So I'll jump back to early one of medical training for the Army. So besides doing IVs, they also do something called the NPA, I'm going to mess the name. And it's an airway, right? So if you get blown up and you can't breathe through your mouth, essentially they put a rubber tube up your nose and it goes into the throat. So part of our training is we take one of those, essentially put Surgilube on it. So it's like the lubricant, right? And you shove it. It's like this maybe, I don't know, 6-8 inch rubber tube. And you shove it up your nose and it goes and sits into the back of your throat so you can breathe if your face is all messed up. So that's a fun. So I've had that done. Yeah. So that's not really super fun.
I have goosebumps when I'm cringing. I have this weird phobia. I hate people touching my nose and people think it's cute to like squeeze my nostrils. Oh, I'm like freaking out. That's terrible.
So the other one, which I've never done this one because it sounds horribly painful. Right. So there's IVs, which are intravenous, and then there's IO, which is interoscular. I'm probably messing that up too, but it's bone, right? So if someone gets blown up, right, then they're losing blood, it's going to be harder to get an IV into their veins because essentially their veins are collapsing because you're losing all the blood. So what it is essentially you put it on your sternum and it's got like 10 pins and then like a couple of bigger pins in the middle, and you press down and it shoves a needle into your sternum, right? It shoves it into the bone and you push fluids through the bone.
Oh my God, I think we just lost all our listeners.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool, they're pretty cool. I've never done it. I know some of the medics have done it because they're.
That's what I was like, is that normal training or that's like medic specific training or?
It's medic specific training. I mean, like they teach us how to use it, which is pretty simple. Essentially, you take off the person's shirt and uncap the thing and you just press on it. And when like all 10 pins on the outside are simultaneously pressed, it like shoves the center one like right into the bone, punches right in there. That's how you get fluids into someone who's pretty messed up. But our medics are weird. I can tell medic stories all day. They're yeah, they're something else.
More power to you and them, and thank you for your service, and thank you for you doing all that, because I'm freaking out right now.
Our medics are phenomenal. Like I've seen our medic put an IV into someone in the back of a moving truck, right? Like they can put them into people on their like night vision goggles, like all sorts of crazy stuff. They're awesome. They're absolutely awesome. So Special Forces medics, best in the world, in my opinion. The other special operation units send their medics to the it's called the 18 Delta course, where the Special Forces medics go to get their medical training. So like the SEALs send their guys to our course, Air Force PJs, and all the other branches send them through the Army course because the medics are that good.
Wow. Well,
I am not a medic. I'm glad those guys are on the same team as me because they're, like I said, they're phenomenal. So shout out to them. Again,
shout out to you, shout out to them for doing that, because yes, I am so glad that there's you guys to do that, because I cannot. So we will end on that note of how awesome you are, and thank you for that. I don't want to hear any more.
All right, that's it. We will catch you guys later.